Welcome to the Justin Masterson Show. It's somebody's birthday. It's not just me on this show. It's me and my guy, Mr. Matt Zappasodi.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Dude, birthday, 42.
It is your birthday.
Maybe you're not supposed to say how old you are.
I think only the ladies care about how old or not old you are. I still say every single time, once I hit 25, I didn't really care after that. 25 allowed me to rent a vehicle without paying extra insurance. So I was good.
I probably wasn't renting vehicles at 25.
You maybe weren't renting vehicles at 25.
Yeah.
But I was.
I think I got married at 25.
Oh.
I could do the math, but that seems hard.
Well, you're 42, so math starts to get hard.
I'm pretty sure I was, because I think we've been married 16 years, but I just turned 42. So anyway, yeah, I know it's good. And I'll tell you what, after 40, you definitely feel a little more aches and pains of the sort. Not like I'm getting old, but like when I work out, it's just harder to recover.
Yeah, I think it does take a little longer to recover, even though, I mean, I'm not 42 yet. I'm just 40.
Yeah,
but
young buck.
But I feel like people have been saying since 30 or 35 or whatever, it only goes downhill from there. But
I don't know about that.
Well, something will happen. And they'll be like, did you tweak your hips a little bit? It's like, oh, you're getting old. I'm like, well, then I've been getting old since I was 18.
Yeah.
Because I've been having the same thing. Like if you're talking about your shoulders, and your neck, that likes to tighten up every so often throughout the year. And it's like, well, you're getting old. It's like, well, no, it's been doing that since I've known you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't really think it's the old thing. It's just some of it's the way our body's wired just a little bit.
Well, my dad would say like his high school injuries like come back to haunt him, and I can tell like there's a college hamstring. I didn't pull it. I don't even think I got like an MRI. It was just a really bad strain, and I had to go rehab it for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and it was my sophomore year, I think. But anyway, it was a dramatic decrease in my speed. Like I could not run as fast after it. Partly you're like mentally like, should I?
Definitely.
But randomly, even if I'm in good shape or running or whatever, but like randomly, it's like it rained out, and the guys are like, my knees hurt, And I'm like, no, that's a real thing. But yeah, randomly, I'll just be like, oh, there's that pinch. I'm not even doing anything. And that same spot on the hamstring, just right there on that right one. And so I think some of those are real.
Yeah.
You get older and like they just come creeping back.
As we continue this season 4, the idea is that structure-wise, I was thinking, man, we start with a little it's all part of it. Maybe we get a little masty moments, which in my mind would be maybe a little story, whether it dealt with baseball of my career or things or whatever, just a little snippet, and then get into a little bit of the content.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm just excited to you invited me. And I mean, let's just get this straight for all the audience. You guys may not know how we roll. Like we see each other a lot.
Yes.
But we've been doing life and work and ministry stuff for a long time together. So I think it was last Friday, so like 10 days ago, I literally just texted you or sent you an invite. I don't even know if I even texted you. I think I just literally sent you a calendar invite. And in the title, it was something like, video chat with Matt and Jeff. Like it was it.
Yes.
Like, right. Like and very vague, no follow-up. And we get on the call. We were struggling a little bit to get connected. And then we're like, hey, we have 20 minutes. I got to record a session real quick. And you're like, okay, what are we talking about? Doesn't matter. Just sit there and record. So you did that to me today. So I just rolled in. We were meeting up here for some cleanup, and you're like, hey, we're gonna do an episode. I'm like, all right, what are we doing? Let's go.
Yep,
so,
pretty much.
So right back at you.
You saw me move the table. You're like, oh, okay. Hey, that's what I was thinking, moving the table. I'm like, yep. He's like, so what's your game plan? I'm like, record an episode. All right,
let's go.
Let's go and let's do this.
So bring it
again, because the motto in our world is it's all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of it.
Well, it's all part of it. Brought to you by the Justerson, the Justerson Show. We'll work on those.
Yeah,
as we
it's coming.
go.
We're just getting our right back into. It's like when I'm reading for Fight Club. So Fight Club's going on right now. We're in round 22, having a great time. We're in week 3. I'm going through with my boys over at Heartland, and it's just a lot of fun. And if you don't know Fight Club, look it up, FC4and4.club. Matt and Bob Loy brought it to this area, which is a really cool program, just a boot camp for men. And we're not doing a book, we're doing excerpts or readings. And so with that, we want to do some audio. So I'm audioing it. Mm-hmm. And I was in my meeting at Heartland last night, and guys are listening. I'm doing the audio, and I'm like, hey, it's not perfect. And then one of the guys was like, well, there's sometimes where I can tell that you're like laughing at whatever you're reading, whether it's because you're having fun with it or it's just like a playful part of it. And they're like, man, we've enjoyed it. So I'm like, okay, that's great. But there's some moments where it's like they was talking about Les Mis.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, Les Miserables. Like I didn't know how to do it. And then the guy Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I think I started off Jean Valjean. And then I went online and was like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
And so it was Jean Valjean. And then I cut it, went back, re-recorded. But then I can't remember. His name was said so many times, Jean Valjean, throughout the whole thing.
Did you miss one?
I'm like, I don't know if I said Jean Valjean, Jean Valjean, Jean Valjean every once in a while because I said it so many times. And I was like, you know what? It's just fine. It's going to be all right because it's all part of it. And that's not even my it's all part of it. Like,
oh, yeah, no.
But it did just come out there because I had a different it's all part of it for today about bus drivers.
Well, let's get into it.
Did you ever ride the bus when you were?
That's funny. I was homeschooled, if you didn't know, but I did go to public school for a couple years. I probably had like a snippet in like first or second grade for a minute.
Okay.
But when we moved to Texas. Oh yeah, no, I did in Baltimore. I'm a Yankee by heart, but Texan by trade, if you will. But I rode the bus for like 1 year, first grade or something with my brothers, because I remember there was this big hill and we'd have to get off and then we'd come down the hill to get to my house. But there was this person at the top of the hill, lived there, probably similar age, elementary school, and she swore that she was best buds with Cal Ripken's son or daughter or kid.
Oh, okay.
And we're in Baltimore, so it's not that hard to believe.
Right.
And we're like, prove it. Like, I don't know what. We're like Cal Ripken Jr. freaks. And, Billy and Senior, all the Ripken, cool. And sure enough, she brought us a ball from Cal Ripken Jr. Now, did she just ask Dad for one? And we live in Baltimore, so you can find them anywhere. Or was it true? I'll never know. But my neighbor was best buds with Cal Ripken Jr. in first grade. So,
wow,
I know
that's pretty impressive.
Rode the bus one time.
So riding the bus. Well, we had Marcella was my bus driver in elementary school. I remember that. Nothing too crazy. I did get myself in trouble by writing a story in high school about a bus driver.
Oh.
It's a story for another time. I told my kids that not too long ago, and they were laughing just in the process of how it all went. I went from almost being expelled to whatever. So say that story for another day.
Teacher tales.
So then, but then this morning, Eden misses the bus.
Oh.
And we're not losing sleep over it.
Oh, okay.
But what had taken place earlier, and I didn't realize it, is so the bus is supposed to come at 8:04 is the timing of it.
Right outside or down the street?
It is slightly down the street.
So you need to leave at like 8.
Maybe a driveway. Oh. Well, so this thing would usually leave about 8. Well, the bus driver came a couple minutes earlier, not today, but earlier, and so a couple girls were late, so they're running to the bus stop. And this bus driver just got so fired up about that she called Merrill, she called the other moms of the people there, and I guess lots of people have been like not being on time, relatively so, to the bus stop. So she goes in this whole tangent of like, I have the ability to be there 4 minutes early or 4 minutes late, so you need to be able to be out there and have this leeway, whatever. I'm like, okay, like if she didn't make such a big deal, I don't think we're having too much trouble with this. And So then Eden was like, all right, like she's feeling bad because she doesn't like not being on time, not doing the right thing in her world. So she makes sure she gets out there, usually is there at, walks out at 7:59 so that she could be there at 8. That gives you that 4 minutes. Well, this morning, lo and behold, Eden goes out at her normal time, and what does not come? The bus, because it was there at like 7:58, 7:57. Actually, one of the other girls who's from the stop who happened to be out there, she was texting her mom, we're getting off the bus at the high school at 8:06 when we're usually getting picked up at this time. So they're already at the high school, all that. And so then, of course, in our world, like Meryl's getting a little fired up. Like, dude, the lady called me, didn't even like apologize, was like making this big deal about you got to be out there and do all this type of stuff. And she kind of got fired up, wanted to cause a ruckus on this. And I talked to Eden when I took her to school. I'm like, bus drivers are interesting people. I said, you got Mr. Mike, who drives the twins, who's the nicest guy I've ever met in the world. And then you got some other ones that are not as nice and always causing a little trouble, wanting to take control, doing it because they need to or because they want to or because they don't want to interact with adults. I don't know. But you just get a gambit. We've had great bus drivers. And I'm not saying this lady isn't great.
Yeah.
But a little bit of drama. Well, then it turns out it was a substitute bus driver.
Oh, what?
This morning. Who was
You have subs for bus drivers too?
I guess so.
I guess people get sick.
Yeah, or have to go do something. So she's there even earlier than what was supposed to be.
Aren't these things documented?
Yes, it is documented. Like to the numbers, 8:04.
8:04, yeah.
Within that realm. And so my take would be, well, if you're super duper early,
you have to wait.
Then you should wait a little bit.
We have a bus driver in our neighborhood that waits.
Right.
Yeah.
It only makes sense.
Yeah.
But in the end, Meryl's like, well, I want to call and do this. And the twins are like, yeah, but do we need to call? And then I was like, babe, if you want to call and just let them know that this substitute bus driver is getting there early, like way early, that's causing a little bit of trouble. But to try and like hate on the bus driver before because she made such a big deal, I said, I think deep down in her heart, she probably cares. It's just an oddity. And I was like, babe, it's just all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when we're doing those.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of bus stories we could probably round up. We could probably have some call-ins about these bus stories. Not about time, like crazy things happening on buses.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Plenty, yeah. School buses.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. I actually wonder about this because we homeschool.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem with it. I really don't care. I actually pay for it, and I don't even use the system. So, like, I really don't care. But I really wonder, it's like, why can't kids get taken to school by their parents? And then it's like, well, they got to go to work early. But most elementary parents put their kids on the bus.
True.
Or take them off the bus because they're little and they need to be. Like, they're not self-sufficient at first through fifth grade, right?
I believe, especially kindergarten or first grade, at least in our school district,
they have to.
They will not let them off the bus
if
unless
there's not a parent
somebody is there.
Now, but getting on, but anyway, but it's like, well, you already got to be there. Why couldn't you take them? And then it's like, well, there's too many cars. Maybe we used to bike to school and now we don't bike to school anymore.
We did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I did, but you did, but whatever.
I did.
So anyway, it's just interesting that we even have like this system that like rounds up our kids, and then like where they're taking them. I mean, it's in a marked bus or whatever.
Right.
But you're like, well, how do they know this substitute bus driver? Like, how do we know this is the real bus driver? Like, what if it's a fake bus driver? What if they just hijacked the bus and they're just driving around picking up our kids? And you're like, see you later. I mean, that'd be terrible and awful, and I pray it never happens. But like, it's just an interesting concept that we just put our kids on the bus, and you're like, all right, I'll see you in 6 hours or 12 hours, whatever it is.
Yes, that is.
Isn't it funny?
It is, no, for sure. No, I think it is. It's definitely an ease.
We have homing beacons for Uber and Lyft. You know exactly where that car is when you call the car. Shouldn't we implement that for school buses?
Well, every kid has, well, not every kid, but many kids now even have cell phones at such a young age.
Oh, that's true.
Or an AirTag put in their shoes.
So you can track your kid.
So you'd be able to track the kid wherever he might be. But you would think there could be some trackers on the buses that...
I bet they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. But then again, so when I was Yeah, I'm certified to drive those little white buses, the little shorter buses, white, where you could take.
Like a U-Haul?
No. It's like at the school.
Oh, okay, because you're a coach.
Yeah, but instead of like if you don't take a real big bus, say you're taking like in basketball, it made more sense because maybe you're taking 10, 12 guys somewhere. Well, they could all fit on that bus, and we could just pop up to wherever if we're going a little bit further away or somewhere else that's outside the realms where we need to leave earlier.
Yeah,
we could do that. So certified for that, and they make such a big deal about how GPS, we follow these things, so you better not speed. I'd be watching these bus drivers,
and they're speeding.
They're flying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether they're flying or they're like moms in minivans driving that thing like it's NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe putting that pedal to the metal.
Why
I'm
not?
like, no wonder your transmission is broken. I mean, every single time I'll be next to somebody, and they'll just be, and then I'll just. Slow, and then quickly after about, a few seconds, I'm passing them because they really got to the speed limit fast.
Yeah.
And then I just keep
I didn't know this was going to be all about bus drivers and buses, but I like it.
Either. Sorry.
I mean, we should really call a bus expert. I bet there's consultants out there that study this stuff. We should figure out.
I'm sure there are. But we are here in the it's playoff baseball time.
Dude,
which it's been really fun. I mean, the wild card stuff, whether you're a sports fan or not, like it doesn't matter. Like you pop on some playoff baseball, and almost everyone, except for the stinking Reds, my guy Tito and Brad Mills reached out to him.
Yeah.
Not Tito because he changed his number, but Millsy, he responded. He was my bench coach, Cleveland, Boston, all that too. Always with Tito. Awesome dude. Great wife too, in case you're wondering.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, great lady. And so they didn't do it, but everyone else had 3 games. In the wild card action. Buddy Todd, he was like, "We got 3. What are they called? There are 3 elimination games going on," which was awesome. But on behalf of the fact that it is the playoffs and baseball time, I want to be able to talk about my first game going into the playoffs, which was in 2008, which is when I made my debut, same year, moved to the bullpen. And so even though I was pitching in some really big games, I didn't necessarily think that I would get in there. Like other guys had more opportunities than me. I didn't think I'd get in there right away. Well, sure enough, playing the Angels, we're in Anaheim. The rally monkey is crying. Ooh,
Your rally monkey?
Their rally monkey.
Okay.
Because that's Anaheim. That was their cool spiel or whatever, which I thought was actually kind of neat. Just the energy and everything that was going on. And then phone rings, and who knows if I told this story before. I'm sure I have. And it's like, "Masty." And I'm like, Me? Yes, you. Let's get the ball from old Gary Tuck, my guy. Get up, get ready, start throwing, throw a couple balls. I'm as nervous as can be because I'm like, "Cool, this is the playoffs." I thought I'd get to sit and watch a little bit longer. And then I'm like, all right, time for some sliders. Throw a slider, goes into the dirt, hits off the chest protector of my catcher, goes into the stands. I'm like, oh boy, all right, let me do another one. Throw another one. Do the exact same thing. Into the dirt, off the chest protector, into the stands. Coach looks at me, he's like, "You ready?" Like, "Do I look ready?" "You're ready." Tells him I'm ready. And sure enough, I go into the game after just throwing 2 balls into the stands. And so sure enough, I get out there. I'm facing the meat of the lineup. I think there was 2 outs for that one. There's 2 outs, but it was Torrey Hunter who was up the bat. It might have been Vladdy Guerrero. There might have been 1 out. But either way, I'm facing the meat of their right-handed batters, Torrey Hunter. Thankfully, throughout the lineup, I throw a slider that was not in the dirt. I think I hung it, but he just missed it, popped it up. And when I say pop up, it was a deep fly ball to left center field that was caught inning over at the wall, pretty much. It might have been just short of the warning track.
1 pitch?
There might have been a couple pitches, but it wasn't very many pitches.
Yeah.
And got out of it, and that was my entrance into playoff baseball.
Wow. 2 spiked sliders And then get out of the inning.
Here we go.
Wow. Is this Vlad senior?
It was senior, yeah. And then Torrey Hunter, good people.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He didn't like you for that? And then they used you again?
Yeah. I mean, in the playoffs, they used me in all but 2 of the games. I pitched in 9 of the 11 playoff games.
Were you nervous?
Not after that.
Going
after that
into
one, it was like, all right. Because the next day I came in and faced Torrey Hunter, Vladimir Guerrero. And I don't know if we went to 3 games or what. It might have just been 2 games. But
you what year?
I gave it up, 2008.
You liked facing righties or lefties more?
Righties.
Because of that dive-in ball?
Yeah, it just worked naturally better for facing them righties. So that was nice. But it was, it's playoff time. We got a lot of action. If you're a baseball fan, put it on. If you're not, put it on. Tons of runs being scored. And there's also some good pitching. Tons of dudes throwing 97 plus. One dude from Milwaukee was throwing 100 yesterday with just lots of energy. Like so much energy. There was a ball back to him, and he just ran it all the way over to first.
I saw that.
First baseman was on first, and the dude still just like ran it all over. And then he just, super excited, throws his hands up, and the commentators are like, well, he is well loved in this city.
Yeah, that series, you went 7 games and lost to the Rays?
We lost to the Rays in that playoff.
And you got to win. I see right here in game 5.
Yeah.
You got to win.
That made me the youngest since Babe Ruth to get a victory in Red Sox history in the playoffs.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I gave up the lead to get that win. Maybe. Maybe we were just tied. I can't remember.
You won 8-7.
Maybe we were tied when I came in. But there was one, it might have been the Angels or the Rays, where I think it was the Angels, where I ended up like giving up the tying run. So I like blew the save, and then we ended up coming back.
So you were talking about the Angels?
Angels, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Go back to that one. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's all right. It was fun. It was a good time. Like you hear the energy. Like I saw this post come up where it was a second home run, I think, by Jorge Polanco. Was it Jorge? I don't know. But Polanco, second baseman for the Mariners, which is my brother's team. And
boo. I actually like him.
Dude hits the second home run, and the commentator, he like, oh, long fly ball left field, it's out of here, home run, Mariners. And then he just goes silent. And it was awesome because like the crowd was just cheering so loud. So you just get to hear that crowd noise.
The crowd, yeah.
Which if you're a true fan, you just love that.
Yeah.
And then someone, comments, they're like, what's up with this? Like the commenter just, stopped talking and went silent, when we hit our second home run.
Like,
and people are like, are you dumb?
Yeah.
Like, he said it was good, and then he just let it be. Like, just take a deep breath one time.
One time?
All right, so we've wasted enough time in here. We're getting 20 minutes into this, and we still haven't even talked about anything of significance.
That's what people like, though.
They probably do, some of them. My wife is like, I tuned out 15 minutes ago. And we'll see. You haven't had time to listen to it in a while. We'll see if you stayed in. I'll know, because right now you'll be like either texting me or walking up when I wake up of like, yeah, see, I did listen to it. Take that, Justin.
She's like, I was at the game. I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about your stories. Other people, cool, but whatever. So we got. So for season 4, I'm going to go through, not through the book, but there's a book that I really like called the 48 Spiritual Laws of Power by one of my favorite authors, Frank Viola. And whether I'll do them all or not or whatnot, but he's just got these different laws, and it's based off of the book 48 Laws of whatever. Where,
significance.
Well, it's like for business or whatever.
Yeah.
And in it was just like being cutthroat and like being selfish and just think about yourself. Like total opposite of what 48 Laws of Spiritual Power are trying to do. Showing that like you abide by these, especially as believers, like you'll experience the Spirit of God like working through you. It will empower you in the midst of these things if you live it out that way. And so the first one we're going into is very simple. All these are, in one sense, very simple. But we're starting off with it. It is never hurt God's people.
It is never hurt.
Never hurt God's people.
Oh, never hurt God's people.
Yeah, never hurt God's people.
Never hurt God's people.
Yes.
Thank you.
And everyone's probably like, yeah, okay. Some are like, why God's people? Well, we're all God's people. But in one sense, it talks about the examples of countless, ministers, pastors, and I just say people in general who will inflict pain on the Lord's people just to advance whatever it is for themselves, whether it's their ministry, whether it's their opinions, whether it's their goals or whatever. They will defend themselves when they're under attack, whether it's perceived or real, and they'll seek to just sever whatever detractors. I mean, we know this. We do this in marriage sometimes. We defend, we sit there and say, nope, you're not gonna do this to me. And so often we end up inflicting pain, whether it's on our significant other, spouse, girlfriend, friends, kids, for us as coaches, on our players, on our fellow coaches. Like I've seen that countless times where people just, in order to move themselves along, they will just do whatever it is to hurt the people around them without thinking about that. And so you go, that's a stinking negative thing. I mean, I got countless ways the way it looks, insulting, people privately behind their back and then publicly doing the same thing, especially when you feel threatened or you don't know. And so ultimately, this is just coming down to the fact of like the Lord calls his people to take the high road.
But at the same time, you can't control what the other people do. So he doesn't like when you hurt God's people, but God's people aren't supposed to hurt back also. It's probably like a reciprocal rule.
Right. I mean, of course you'd want to go to the reciprocal rule, but if we're just going on our own, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Like, how do you take control of yourself and not go and just be the one who's causing the trouble for everyone else?
And you said God's people might be defined as all people. Would you stick to that?
I mean, I think yes. I mean, in the sense of where Frank's going about it, the author, he's dealing with it and kind of like people are in ministry or dealing with, in the church world or around that type of stuff. But I think it still pertains because ultimately you're not going to experience God's power if you don't believe in God's power. So it's not going to affect you in that way. But I do believe it still does come to the fact of all people and the way that you should treat them and the way that you should go about their business. I would sit along that.
What about the idea? So you've got the good person, the fool, and the evil person.
Yes,
you know that idea.
I do.
So maybe God's people would be the fool and the wise. It's not good. It's wise. The wise and the fool. But the evil will carve out and say, rules don't apply to them.
Well, yeah, because
when you're out there to hurt people.
Then, those are the ones who are trying to hurt people. Those are the ones who are just not nice, not kind. Like they have themselves. I mean, I'll tell you, some of these. I think some of the people that's being called out by this, they think that they're the wise person, and they're not even the fool. I think they're actually the evil people.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to define it because someone might say, well, shouldn't we be allowed to hurt people in war or when someone's being evil back? There's like a psychological argument for where is good and evil in this. And I think I'm just trying to define I think God created everyone. And so everyone is God's people. But there's some people that have just turned away from him and chosen evil blatantly.
Right.
And with that comes a turning away from God comes from you now have the consequences of your life. So this idea of we shouldn't hurt God's people is to all, but God's people is referencing in people that still haven't abandoned him completely and turned their evil ways. So I think that there's like a force to be reckoned with when you think about certain lines that have been crossed, and there's still hope for people while they're still breathing. But at the same time, you have to protect also.
Yeah, you do have to protect, but that's also, I think one of the hardest things is if we're not taking it physically.
Yeah.
So if we're going words and detractors, and yeah, some physicality could go in there, but typically we're talking about the simplistic fact of how I'm not with you. I'm talking about you behind your back.
Yeah.
Criticizing
Insulting.
you probably publicly. I'm going to threaten you. I'm going to put false accusations upon you. I'm going to mock you. I'm going to demean you. Probably use guilt, fear, or shame to try and motivate you. All the opposite things of what we would typically talk about. When I'm going to correct you, it's going to be in a non-gracious way. Like it's just going to make you feel like you are the dumbest thing in the world. Like how dare you even try and do that? And then I'm just going to use you to try and get what I can have. So yeah, I can see where your mind's going in that physical. Someone comes at me, I just got to let them do whatever. And we've hit on that. We're just like turn the other cheek, which is actually like instead of backhanding me, like treat me like a real person. Don't just treat me like a slave. Treat me like a real person. Let's see how that goes. And not like this call to violence per se, because he said, Peter, put down your sword. They're coming and doing that, healing the guy's ear. But I think it really comes in the words and the way that we treat those who he says God's people would be those who are closer, those who we know, those who we assume should be doing the good things, the ones who would potentially understand, all our Fight Club brothers, all the people that we're spending time with, and yes, I think people that we happen to engage upon in positive in ways many times, because ultimately it's how often do you see us, others, whatever, trying to use people to get what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna treat my high school baseball players with good things, and so what's the point? Like what's the point? What are we trying to get at? Is the fact that we want to be broken people. Now, when I first start hearing about broken, I'm like, okay, what do? You break a horse, right? When you break a horse, it's like you make it no longer care about itself. It is just submissive and will do whatever. And I think it does describe, it hints on aspects of where we're trying to go, but it just hints on like the weaknesses of it, which is probably what it is. I mean, honestly, let's be real here. Like God is calling us to, like, his strength is found in our weakness. So if that's the case, and we can be these people who are broken, and it's no longer our strength but his strength working through, then we have nothing on our own to defend. And so if we can get to this point of brokenness, sufficiently broken, then all of a sudden it changes the way that we interact. Everything is not a fight. So when the time is right to step up and defend maybe something that's there, we're able to do it in a much better way than what would have happened before. We don't have to do it because I got to defend myself. We don't have to do it because I'm feeling threatened and I got to put you down and build me up. It's so much different than what it is. What do you think about when you hear the word broken?
Yeah, I mean, well, first I think of like broken, like my daughter broke something and brings it to me and I put it back together. And it'll never be the same. It's always going to have a tear, a seam, a crack, unless it's glass and you use that super cool glass glue, you're going to be able to see the line, like where it was. But what's interesting in most wood product, I do some woodworking, as you do as well. When you put the two pieces back together with wood glue, it's supposed to be stronger than it was. You think of your skin, when it scars over, it's actually stronger than it was before the scar. It doesn't look as good, but it's stronger. So that's where my mind goes. I do really like your analogy with the horse. And so there's this temperament that you switch over, and maybe we don't want to go so far as broken beyond critical thinking, broken beyond losing yourself, because there is a point where you could, be so mentally or physically broken that you've lost yourself and your will. But there is this part before that, much before that that you're broken to your will in submission. I think that's the better. That's the one where I've got this will as a man and a husband to do my life, but I've broken it to submit to the will of my family. So I put my self-desires down and I pick up those of my family, no matter the pain, no matter if it's gain for me, no matter how hard it is, because it's like, no, I've died to that, and it's a constant dying to that, but I'm breaking and putting back together a better piece. Like my family's better with me. And so there's part of this analogy of a puzzle or a broken thing in my mind where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look as what you thought, but it's stronger. So
no, I like that. I like the idea of it's stronger. And then it also, to me, was like, these are reminders, like not of the bad that you were, but of how you've been put back together in a better way. Like thinking of the glass or, a bowl that's broken by, say, your daughter, and you piece that back together. And it's not like this, I think we utilize it when we're not healthy, of like, hey, remember this, like, don't do this again.
Guilt.
Yes. And the others is like, oh man, just think this thing, like, it fell apart and now it's pieced back together and it's still usable and it's stronger in one way. And we can still put, the cereal, the milk, whatever into it, and it still does the job that it's supposed to do. And yet now it has some character to it. Like it's different. It's a little bit different. It doesn't have the same story, as everyone else had. And so it sets it apart in some ways and allows it to be able to tell that. And I know that's talking about a bowl here, but I think that in our lives, those things that happen that kind of break us, that don't take us past. I like how you said that. It doesn't take us past that point of where we're no longer any bit of who we are or understanding to be able to critically think, but takes us to a good point. Because as it would say, the most dangerous person on the planet is the one who would do anything to save his or her own work.
Yeah, or own life. Was that the same thing?
I take it as the same thing.
Yeah, I totally, I couldn't agree more. And danger is a really nice word there, because you should have a little danger in you. You should be a little dangerous, but the most dangerous, well, I don't know that I want to be classified as the most dangerous in anything, even in a good way. Like, you're the most dangerous pitcher. It's like, well, that's actually probably a pretty big negative. That just means I hurt people. I'm actually not very good anymore. So the most dangerous, sad story last week, doing one of the most dangerous sports in the world is rock climbing. And we lost a really, really good rock climber last week. Well, maybe he was not the most dangerous, but he was doing the most dangerous sport, and he died doing it. Now, did he do something he loved? Did he love his life no matter what? Like, that's fine. Yes. But he wasn't trying to die. But you're doing something so dangerous in that act, you actually could have hurt others. He could have taken down his partner. He could have landed on something or someone or something. So you think, like, in the case, I'm that's interesting. If I'm trying to save, Jesus said it, like, you try to save your life, you're going to lose it. And what we often think of is like, oh, my life, like right now, like my breathing body, like this, well, I'm going to go save it. Then you're lying, because I didn't die. I just saved it. So there, Jesus, like, there's your argument. Well, he's talking about a second level of life. He's talking about you'll get your reward here and not in heaven, not in the afterlife. But so often we just think of the here and now.
But even if we're thinking of here and now, think of how long or how much you hold on. You might say you want a family. You might say you want whatever it might be. But if you hold on so tightly to something that's over here, well, then everything else is going to get lost. Like, you hold it so tightly. And then when you're able to, like, see it, hold it a little more loosely, doesn't mean we don't give the same type of effort, but it just has a different feel to it. And then all of a sudden we're still able to be present in other spots. We're not just so locked in.
Well, we talked about marriage a lot last season, and from two unqualified people talking about it, but it was really good exercise.
We're married.
Still married.
Yep.
But I think when you talk about wanting to save your marriage or save your kids or hold on to something you said so tightly, I would be really interested of a person listening or in this conversation that would say, no, I tried so hard and it worked. I gave up everything to hold on so tightly to my son, and look, it worked. We have a great relationship. Like it's pretty unlikely. And what's so ironic about that is Jesus's statement is like accurate in a way in that, because it's like, you go all in on something and abandon your other things for this one thing, and you probably will wind up losing it. Like, it doesn't mean that you're destined to fail. It just means because you've sacrificed X, Y, and Z for this one thing. Again, there's a limit there. You do need to sacrifice. I just described it in how I sacrificed for my family. But if I go past that limit, that line, I'll actually wind up losing.
Right, which takes us to the point, if we're kind of landing the plane, because I got tons more that we could talk about within it, is one, we have to be able to lose, but two, when you're talking about that, like we should be able to go all in for Christ.
Yeah,
in many ways, and put it in there. But I think there's a limiting factor that comes in, and that is our spiritual maturity. Because the essence is just talking about this the other night with the guys, is that you go do this and you expect someone to do something back. Like, say I'm putting all this effort into the family, and well, what if the family isn't showing the appreciation that you think should be there?
Unequal.
Correct. And so you're just not mature enough to be able to do that. So that's I think that word probably hits better is if you put in a lot of effort over here, you realize that, like, oh, if work, I'm not going all in at work. I'm not putting everything into that, because I'm mature enough to know that, well, I have everything here, but it feels, I'm just more under control because I can do multiple things at the same time. But in essence, I am going all in with my family and God. But then again, like in the word that I'm thinking of, all in would be like, well, then I'm sacrificing work. Like, I should have been at work and I chose not to because I'm over here. It's like, well, you chose to do a job, so maybe you needed to find a different job before that. Or you sacrifice all friendships. You don't hang out with any other person other than those lone people in front of you. And so now you have no community. So you're losing out on that because, one, you saw one thing and you went at it with immaturity.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. So that's a good definition for it. Okay. So you talked about grasping and holding on. So maybe a posture we need to recognize is having the maturity to go after something, but then with an open hand. So I'm going after it and hoping and praying and working at the fact that I hope I can get this, but I'm not going to grasp and hold. I'm going to leave my hand open, maturing and recognizing, like, hey, you know what? If it doesn't work, if they don't love me back, if they don't respond the way I did, if my job fires me, if whatever, but I'm just that posture.
Right.
So I'm going all in, but at the same time, I'm knowing it might not be right.
Right. In the end, I can still lose.
Yeah.
And be okay.
So you talked about, well, going all in with our faith. So then help me understand the difference, because like we talk about wanting to encourage people to go on with their faith. What's the
same thing. So if you're going all in with your faith, it's still that you have to grow in the maturity, because what's going to happen is you're going to go all in, and then what? You're going to realize that, wow, life didn't necessarily become easier in the way that we maybe expected it to.
Our expectations.
Now, as we grow in our maturity and able to handle the emotions that come our way, we'll look at it and be like, oh, you know what? Like, this is actually easier. Like, things have gotten harder, but I'm handling these things in a more positive way because I know that God's Spirit is within me. When I'm dealing with these people who I don't want to treat God's people well, but when I'm dealing with them and I go, yeah, I don't have to defend myself. I don't have to be threatened. I go, ooh, what do I see? I see a lack of maturity, because now as I mature, I see people's lack of maturity, and not as a way to like go, oh, who are you? Who do you think you are? You better grow up. No, I can come alongside and be like, I've been there. Just like when I'm dealing with kids, like you see them as younger. So you're like, when they come and, hit you in the private part, and you're just like, oh man, I want to kill you, but that is not right. I was there and I did the same thing when I was a kid. So I get it, but But now we got to move past that, then we have conversations, but that's not the way that you do things. And then you have some kids who respond well and others who are like, forget you, I'm going to go do whatever I want. And the ones who respond well, you keep pushing and moving, and you hope that at some point in time that other one learns in some capacity, whether you're with them or not. And I don't know if you're hearing it, but that to me is that same thing. As we grow, our pursuit is great. Come on, let's go. And then instead of getting frustrated along the way of like, it's not working out the way I thought it should work out, it's like, well, get to know who they are. Like, who is Christ? What does he bring to the table? And then be surrounded by people who are also in that pursuit. Somebody who's what? More mature. And then you can figure that out by seeing how they handle their emotions. They go about their business. How do they respond? What do? Are they talking poorly about people? It's like, well, they do say negative things at times about some people, but they don't say it in the same way that everyone else did, as in like, this person is terrible. It's more like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have done that. Like talking about the bus driver. It's the mix of, Merrill probably wanted to burn everything down and get this person out of here. And I'm like, hey, maybe we don't burn it all down. Maybe we understand that they're human. They're going through something's happening here. Like maybe we look for something maybe slightly more mature. And now Merrill is mature and has continued to mature. But in our moments, we have those like, oh, we picture that like, that's probably not the most mature statement to go about it. And we'll call ourselves out at times when we see that. And then we can discuss and talk about it and be like, let's go about it this way. Because the questions become like, when you're scratched, you figure out how deep your discipleship is. Like how I say your maturity is within that. So when we're pursuing Christ, someone scratches us, tells us we're not doing this right, or hey, have you thought about this? And we look at them like, what do you know? You're not going to tell me. I know what I'm doing. And for me, I go, you're still a child. It's okay. Not like, hey, wake up. It's like, hey, you're still a child. Okay, I see where you're at. We'll come alongside and we'll do it. Because the question, how do you react when you're threatened? What do you do when you're under pressure? And in those minds, those are questions that like Frank kind of put out. And in our world, when we're thinking about the maturity aspect in general, is like when the big emotions come and they well up in us, the frustrations, the anxiety, the unsurety, the despair, the anger, the sadness, and it just pops up. What happens to us? Do we let it overtake us? Or even if it for a moment seeps in and we let it sit for a second, then we're able to go like, no, I know who I am. I know whose I am. Let me get back into it. I think that's that maturity aspect we're looking for, which then allows us to do what we need to do and truly be all in for what we're trying to go for.
It's good. Wow. I like it. Thanks, Frank, for giving us some insight there. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can give us some donations at fairwarrior.com so we can keep putting on shows like this and keep telling you about the next 47. Or did you do 2? Did we go over 2 or 1?
That was just the first
one. So 47 more coming your way.
Potentially. We may not do them all.
We might not. So season quattro. Episode 1.
Episode 1.
In the books.
Yep. Episode 1 in the books.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Happy birthday.
Thanks, brother. Peace.